Okay, so got a lot of interesting developments today, but before I get into that, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm gonna start with this. Um, Executive orders Biden's planning to sign the ghost guns. Uh, oh yeah, this is a good one. This one, as much as I hate when people try to argue just how stupid these laws are. I had to say, how these laws aren't making any sense. So, the second one here, the Justice Department within 6 days shall issue a rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing device effectively turns a pistol into a short barreled rifle, subject to the NFA. The alleged shooter in the Boulder tragedy last month appeared to have used a pistol with an arm brace, which can make a firearm more stable and accurate while still being concealable. Concealable. Concealable, really. Look, this is, I've got an AK pistol with the brace on it, right? Now, what is the definition of concealable? Something that, like a concealable handgun that you keep in your pocket or waistband, whatever. You know, there's no way that you were concealing this pistol. Okay, it's not happening. It's you know, it is the dumbest thing that I think I've ever seen. And I know I'm wasting my time because they don't care how absurd it is. People are just going to run with it. But, you know, I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to comply with any of this bullshit. I'm not going to do it. I don't care. There's a line in the fucking sand, and that is my motherfucking line. That's it. Joe Biden, come and take it. I'll be at the top of the stairs. You try to get me, you old fuck. And so anyway, red flag laws, evidence-based community violence interventions, whatever the fuck that means. Um, Justice Department will issue an annual report on firearms trafficking. I don't know. Oh, and David Chipman. David Chipman. There's a lot of interesting things about this guy. So it was when they announced it was David Chipman. He cleared the ATF of wrongdoing at Waco. He said, in my, this is some of the things that he put up on Reddit. In my opinion, limiting the size of magazines does not prevent one shooter from committing a single homicide. What it does do is prevent the killer from becoming a killing machine by being able to kill dozens. At ATF, I carried a 15-round magazine for my pistol and a 30-round magazine for my rifle. I was on a SWAT team. Allowing the sale of 100-plus round magazines to civilians is insane. Fuck you. Okay. Yeah, he has a 30-round magazine, but what he doesn't tell you is that he also has several other magazines totaling over 100 rounds. At a minimum, he's carrying at least 90 rounds plus the 30 in the gun itself. So 120. So who the hell is he to tell me? And then he goes on to lie. Now, remember, this is the guy that cleared the ATF of any wrongdoing at Waco. He says at Waco, cult members used two 50 caliber Barretts to shoot down two Texas Air National Guard helicopters. Point, it is true we are fortunate they are not used in crime more often. The victims of drug lords of Mexico are not so lucky. America plays a role in fueling violence south of the border. Well, first of all, that first part is wrong. It's I mean, how brainless can people be to actually believe that shit? Look it up, Google it, do your fucking research. Also, yes, America does play a role in fueling violence south of the border because you're your fucked up war on drugs. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Uh, the same reason we don't let citizens sell prescription drugs to each other. Licensed gun dealers, it's independent third party required to verify the identity of the buyer. Blah blah blah. He says, I believe silencers are rightfully regulated as particularly lethal firearms under the NFA. I do believe that we should invest the transfer taxes that go to the General Treasury Fund to ensure that ATF can approve applications in a regular or in a timely fashion. This guy is such a douchebag. Silencers don't make guns. Don't do anything. They don't make guns any worse. I don't know. Yeah, this shit's ridiculous. But in other news, prosecution falters in George Floyd murder trial, but media prime public to expect conviction. They're setting the stage for riots. You know, they're basically they're only you know they're framing articles to make it seem like you know the to make it seem like they're not like posting they're not reporting on things that the defense is hitting on in this trial. They're just trying to make they're making it look like you know Chauvin's going to be convicted indefinitely so that when he isn't, riots. And they're not doing it. They're not doing it to they know that he's not that he's not going to be convicted. They know there's going to be riots, but they don't care. They're not going to report on the riots. Yeah, see, like you could see expert testifies Chauvin's kneeling on Floyd's neck isn't a trained restraint. And that's just simply not true. That we've all seen that training manual being, it's floated around the internet for a little while now. Um, none of this means that Chauvin is certain to be acquitted, but the mainstream media coverage is overwhelmingly favorable to the prosecution. That reinforces doubt about whether Chauvin can receive a fair trial, but also suggests possibility of more public outrage if the jury returns a verdict of not guilty that the media suggests is impossible. And there it is. That's, we still got a long way to go in this trial. It's only been a week, but I don't know. It's it certainly seems that he's going to walk. And that's just my opinion. I think it's I think it's more likely that he walks on all charges than anything else. But in other news, U.S. military says Chinese attack on Taiwan accelerating as Taiwan threatens war to the very last day. So, World War III gearing up in the east. The U.S. military is concerned that attack on Taiwan by Chinese forces is imminent, much like the Russians in Ukraine. They've been saying that it's imminent. Yeah, and this comes after a meeting between Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and his Chinese counterparts, in which China, went off and is trying to sow more division in our country, you know. But the I had to talk about this. The mainstream American left encourages left wing political violence. Recall the statements from Harris and others in the Democratic Party in 2020. Remember how leftist media downplayed deadly BLM riots. Remember the responses to Portland's Antifa violence. This was in response to Ben Shapiro saying, if you watch the actual show and trial and then watch the media coverage of the show and trial, the gap is stunning. The media are paving the way for riots by ignoring the prosecution's difficulties, and his acquittal is not a remote possibility based on those difficulties. It's just like I was saying, it's just seems more and more likely that he may very well get acquitted. And it's not good. The riots are going to be bad this year. But in other news, and I got to be careful, I know just bringing this guy up, can get you banned on YouTube. So Jones stops vehicle witnessing migrant children being stuffed in the luggage compartment. They were filming. InfoWars was filming, and they were, according to InfoWars, children were being taken from the dirt floor camp under the bridge to a processing camp in Donna, Texas. The migrants were then moved to a COVID processing center in downtown McAllen before being brought to Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley. And the charity provides migrants with airplane or bus tickets to any city they choose in the U.S. and a debit card with $1,200 per person. They are then transported by staff to the airport or bus station. On their website, they claim to have assisted over 23,000 individuals who have illegally traveled into the country. They witnessed 5 children and an adult exiting the center and being loaded into a hatchback car. 3 of these children were loaded into the luggage compartment where there were no seatbelts, were present. After police arrived, the driver removed the children from the back of the vehicle and brought them back inside the building. He claimed that their mother was with them. And here you could see they're in, in the back of this little. They're in the back of this little car. It's pretty. It's pretty disgusting what they're doing. They. I don't really have one. It's just disgusting. I mean, just to put kids at risk like that. But what can you say? In other news, Nation of Islam releases statement on Noah Green mourning loss of this brother with such great potential. Whatever the fuck that means. So he, Noah Green, he drove his car into the entrance of the U.S. Capitol and killed police officer Billy Evans. The Nation of Islam released a statement. It was reported not long after his death that Green was a supporter of Nation of Islam and its leader, Louis Farrakhan. And the attack took place on Good Friday. Um, yeah, I just, so they put out a statement. It was being reported that he was a follower of the Nation of Islam. We believe may have attended our Savior's Day convention in Detroit in February and March 2020. Due to COVID, we closed our mosques and began conducting meetings and classes remotely. He was not a registered member. Well, Noah Green's alleged use of an automobile as a weapon and alleged possession of a knife, as reported, violates our teachings. I mean, we absolutely disavow this act that resulted in a senseless loss of life. Shocking for us to learn that someone who was attempting to be part of our ranks may have involved in something as tragic as this. But it's good that they said that, but you know, some of the things that they've some of the statements that have come out of Louis Farrakhan and it's not surprising that stuff like this happens. So until they fix that, I mean, can't take them too seriously. And again, more about Biden's pick for the ATF mocked millions of new gun owners in 2020 as being afraid of zombies. That's absolutely absurd. It you got to remember between COVID, the riots, and just you know we were at we were pretty close. I remember going to having to get a having to go to the store at 6:30 in the morning to go and get toilet paper. Okay, I remember that. When this stuff first started happening, literally you had to get in line just to go get toilet paper at like 6:30 in the morning when the store opened at 7. you know. And when they opened the doors, people were people were practically fighting over the toilet paper. Like literally, there was a old man. He was in the front of the line, and he had two 4-packs of toilet paper, just two 4-packs, you know. And people were the guy that was right behind me started yelling at him. You really gonna buy that much toilet paper? And I, for a couple minutes there, I thought they were actually going to fight, and so we were pretty close to some serious shit. But yeah, so Chipman spent 25 years at the ATF, including, I don't know if they retracted this or what, but he was serving as a case agent in the Branch Davidian trial before rising to serve as the head of the agency's firearm division. So he's been a senior policy advisor at the gun control group founded by Representative Gabrielle Giffords and her husband, Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. He said fear has been the motivation for much of the increases in firearms purchases. A small percentage of the marketing to gun owners has been to encourage preparation for end time scenarios and zombie apocalypses. No, Shipman said the country's current gun laws allow people to hoard weapons in the same way they are able to mass buy toilet paper. No, not really. I mean, he says, as a gun owner myself, I get how people instinctively think about their personal safety and that of their families. What concerns me most is not the responsible gun owners who decide to pick up a couple more boxes of ammo, but the person who's never handled a gun, buying an AR-15, who plans to bring a weapon of war into their home untrained and is already under an extraordinary amount of stress, adding gas to a fire. But you can't sit there and how can you sit there and say just because that somebody's a new gun owner that they're not going to be a responsible gun owner? It's all just a ruse just for trying to take away more people's rights. If you keep it open, there's a risk of first time buyers who are largely buying out of fear and panic and untrained. Well, maybe if you assholes could actually keep things under control, but that's not the case, and that's not going to be the case. If we can imagine how horrible this crisis is, the people who hoarded the guns might decide 6 months from now, once they see no zombies around, but they've run out of tuna and beef jerky, that they need money to buy food. I don't know. Where oh, he says he's worried that people who are stocking up now eventually will sell their firearms privately. You know, if I don't know, but that's a personal choice, you know. Me, I will never buy a gun with and plan to sell it later. You know what I mean? When I buy a gun, that's it. It's mine. you know, but that's just me. So that I'm very particular about what I get. So but that's just me. I know there's people that buy and sell and do all that, but I don't buy a gun just to get rid of it. I get something that's staying with me for a long time. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Tomorrow's gonna be an interesting day.